Guys, welcome to the 8th C# tutorial that I'm making for the new Boston, and in this tutorial we're going to be doing even more on if statements. So for this tutorial you're going to need to have a button, a text box, and a checkbox. Once you have all that on your form, just go ahead and double click on the button. Alright, so first off here, let's just go ahead and create an if statement checking to see if the text in the text box is Adam. So we're going to say if text box is 1 for our text box right here, and we're going to say if the text of that text box is Adam, then we're just going to want to have a message box show saying hello. So we're going to go right here and say hello. Oops. Alright, there we go. So basically what it's going to do right here is just check to see if the text inside of text box 1 is Adam, and if it is, we're just going to have a message box showing saying hello. So if we just go in here and type Adam and click the button, yep, we get hello. But what if we only wanted it to show the message box if the text inside of this text box was Adam and if this checkbox was checked? Well, what we could do is create an if statement inside of this if statement checking to see if the checkbox is checked. So we can just go right here and say if checkbox1.checked, and then we'll just have the message box show. So what it's going to do is it's going to first just check to see if the text inside of text box 1 is Adam. And if it is, then it's going to jump down to this if statement and check to see if the checkbox is checked. And then if it's checked, then we're going to get a message box saying hello. And having an if statement inside of an if statement is called a nested if statement. Alright, so let's just go ahead and make sure that this works right here. So if we just type Adam inside of this text box and click the button, nothing's going to happen because the checkbox isn't checked. But if we were to go ahead and check the checkbox, then we get a message box. And if we only have the checkbox checked and the text box's text isn't Adam, then we're going to get nothing. Alright, and what if you had something else that you wanted to check? Like you wanted to say like if int alright, so if you wanted to say like if int I equals 0, then you'd have to have another if statement inside of here saying if I equals 0, then we want to have a message box show. So the only way for a message box to show now is if text box 1's text equals Adam, if the checkbox is checked, and if I equals 0. Well, that's not very practical. A way easier way of doing this is using something called AND. So we can just go ahead and delete all of this, and what we can do right here is just put two AND symbols right after this. So right after this, we can say and checkbox 1 is checked. So now what it's going to do is it's first going to check to see if text box 1's text equals Adam. And if it does, then it's going to check to see if checkbox 1 is checked. And if both of these are true, then we're going to get a message box saying hello. So we're just going to say right here, hello. Okay, so let's just go ahead and make sure that this works. So if we just type Adam in here and we don't have the checkbox checked, we're not going to get a message box. But if we do check the checkbox and text box 1's text is Adam, then we will get a message box. But if only the checkbox is checked, then we won't. And you can have as many ands after this as you want. So you could say if checkbox 1 is checked and text box 1's text equals Adam and I equals 0, then that's fine. You can have as many ands as you want. Alright, so we've already looked at AND. Now let's take a look at OR. So to do OR, you're just going to want to do two vertical lines. And to do or create these vertical lines, you're just going to want to hold Shift and go above your Enter key. And then just hit that twice, so just two vertical lines. And then if we wanted to say if text box 1's text equals Adam or checkbox 1's checked, then this message box will show. So basically what's going to happen is it's going to go and check to see if text box 1's text equals Adam. And if it does, then it's going to go down here and show the message box, because only one of these has to be true for it to show this message box. So if text box 1's text doesn't equal Adam, but checkbox 1 is checked, then we're still going to get this message box. So let's just go ahead here and make sure that this works. So if we just type Adam in here and we click the button, we're going to get that message box because only one of these has to be true. So checkbox 1 isn't checked, but text box 1's text is Adam. And if we were to check both of them, or if both of these are true, it'll still do it. and if only the checkbox is checked, it'll still do it. Oops. But if we don't have any of them at all, we're not going to get that message box, since neither text box 1's text is Adam nor the checkbox is checked. Alright, and just like the AND, you can have as many ORs as you want. So if you wanted to say OR I equals 0, then it's just going to always show this message box since I is equal to 0. So now if we were to just debug and click this button, we get that message box because, yeah, checkbox 1's text doesn't equal Adam, checkbox 1 isn't checked, but I does equal 0, so we'll get this message box. Alright, so that's pretty much it for this tutorial, so see you guys.